What happens when an AI tries to crack one of mathematics' most famous unsolved problems and, even while failing, still discovers something new? Welcome to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition, the podcast created by generative AI. It's August 11th, 2026, and today we're looking at a fresh sign of AI moving into serious research: Google's steady shift toward AI-first consumer habits, a big financing play around data centers, and a couple of security stories that show how small assumptions can create very real leaks. This episode is brought to you by Consensus. Consensus uses AI to help you find and understand research papers, and you can get a free month. Find the link in the episode notes. We'll start with Anthropic. A research version of Claude was tasked with taking a run at the Riemann hypothesis, which remains one of the most famous open problems in mathematics. It did not solve it, but the interesting part is what happened along the way. Anthropic says the system produced a new result on a related question and generated a proof that could be formally verified. That's notable not because AI suddenly solved pure math, but because it suggests these models may be starting to contribute useful steps in highly specialized research rather than just summarizing known work. Staying with AI, Meta is making its political and product case at the same time. Mark Zuckerberg is now openly arguing for what he calls personal superintelligence, meaning powerful AI should be broadly available instead of concentrated inside a small number of institutions. That lines up with Meta's return to open-weight releases, including a new model called Muse Glimmer that early testers say is practical enough to run locally on strong personal hardware. The bigger point here is that Meta is trying to define openness as both a technical choice and a governance argument. Google, meanwhile, keeps moving AI closer to its front door. The company is testing a homepage design for signed-out users that puts AI actions right below the search box and even adds an AI mode inside the field itself. That's a meaningful shift, because the classic homepage used to be one of the simplest destinations on the web. If this test expands, Google won't just be answering searches with AI, it will be training users to begin with AI from the very first click. And Google has another major change underway in the US. After losing its antitrust fight with Epic, it has started letting rival app stores appear inside the Play Store. Aptoide is the first example. For users, that means alternative storefronts can now be installed much more directly. For Google, it means a weaker grip on Android distribution. This could open the door to more competition, though how much it really changes the market will depend on fees, rules, and how willing developers are to show up. On the robotics side, Dyna Robotics says it has found a scaling pattern that looks a lot more like internet AI than old-school robotics. Its new Dyna 2 model was trained on more than 1 million hours of human video, and the company says performance improved as the training data grew, even on robot hardware the system had not seen before. If that holds up, it matters because robotics has long been bottlenecked by expensive, slow data collection. Raw human video could become a much larger fuel source for physical AI. Now, to the money behind all of this. NVIDIA is teaming up with some of Wall Street's biggest firms to build financing platforms aimed at mobilizing more than $500 billion for AI infrastructure. The pitch is simple. Treat compute more like financeable infrastructure, closer to a power plant or toll road than a short-lived IT purchase. Supporters see that as a way to accelerate data center build-outs. Skeptics see a familiar risk, where easy financing can pull demand forward and leave the market exposed if AI spending cools. Either way, the size of the ambition tells you how far the AI build-out has moved into mainstream capital markets. Apple appears to be working on a very different kind of AI-era safeguard. Code spotted in the latest iOS 27 beta points to a feature called Apple Reference Image, designed to help prove that a photo genuinely came from an iPhone camera. The idea seems to be privacy-conscious provenance rather than cloud-based inspection of your pictures. In plain English, Apple appears to be preparing for a world where fake images are easier to make and harder to detect, and where authenticity itself becomes a feature users may want. Two security stories are worth grouping together today because they both show how fragile digital trust can be. First, a researcher who bought the domains noreply.us and noreply.net says companies were sending huge amounts of sensitive automated email there, including account setup links, reports, and internal details. It's a surprisingly basic failure. Organizations treat noreply addresses like dead ends, even when someone else can own the domain and receive the mail. The second security item is more technical, but the takeaway is simple. A team shipping device-bound session credentials, a browser feature meant to make stolen cookies less useful, says real-world deployment was full of edge cases that could accidentally weaken the protection. In other words, even stronger web security tools can quietly fail if the surrounding server logic isn't designed carefully. Both stories are reminders that security often breaks, not because the idea is bad, but because assumptions around it are sloppy. And finally, a corporate power story to watch. A Wall Street Journal report says Elon Musk's Tesla pay package includes terms that could make a Tesla-SpaceX merger especially meaningful for him financially. If the companies were combined under the right conditions, some of the harder performance hurdles tied to that compensation could become easier to clear. This is still in the realm of speculation, but it matters because merger structure, not just company performance, could influence one of the largest executive pay outcomes in tech. Thanks to our sponsor, Lindy. Lindy is your ultimate AI assistant that proactively manages your inbox, meetings, and calendar so you can focus on what actually matters. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the roundup for August 11th, 2026. The theme today is pretty clear. AI is no longer just a software story. It's becoming a research tool, a capital asset, a governance debate, and a trust problem all at once. Thanks for listening to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition. I'll be back tomorrow with the next wave.